What if I told you that Las Vegas is no longer just the city of casinos, flashing lights, and bachelor parties, but also one of the fastest growing relocation and retirement destinations in the entire United States? Yes, it's true. Over the past decade, tens of thousands of Americans, from retirees to families and even young professionals, have packed up their belongings and moved to Nevada's shining desert city. And while the glamour of Las Vegas is undeniable, the reality of living here is far more complicated than most people realize. Because behind the shimmering strip and its world-class casinos lies a very different story. A story of skyrocketing housing prices, intense summer heat, rising utility bills, and a healthcare system struggling to keep up with demand. So, if you want, watch this video on 2x, but don't skip, because this will change your perception for Las Vegas forever. So, today, we are going to uncover what life in Las Vegas really looks like. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because we'll reveal whether Las Vegas is really worth it as a long-term place to live, retire, or invest in. But before we dive in, let me ask you a quick question. Would you ever consider moving to Las Vegas for retirement or a fresh start? Drop your answer in the comments, because many people think they know Vegas, but living here is nothing like visiting for a weekend. All right, let's get into it. Entertainment and the Sin City experience. Las Vegas isn't nicknamed Sin City for nothing. While many people think of Vegas only as a retirement or affordable alternative to California, the city has a completely different face when it comes to nightlife and entertainment. For younger people or anyone who craves excitement, Vegas offers world-class shows, 24/7 casinos, nightclubs, concerts, pool parties, and endless entertainment that very few cities in the US can match. Major artists from around the world host residencies here. Think of it like New York's Broadway, but with more lights, music, and wild energy. Even outside the Strip, you'll find trendy bars, esports arenas, comedy shows, and festivals that make the city constantly feel alive. For a younger crowd, this is what makes Las Vegas so unique. You can work a 9-to-5 job and still step into a completely different world of entertainment at night. But here's the flip side. This constant energy comes at a cost. Living close to the Strip can be noisy, expensive, and tempting if you're not careful with money. That's why locals often say, it's a great place to play, but not always the best place to stay. Still, for young professionals, singles, or anyone who loves an active nightlife, Las Vegas delivers an unmatched experience that few U.S. cities can compete with. Housing costs. Now let's come to our first major part, housing. If you've been keeping an eye on the U.S. housing market, you already know that prices have gone wild in many cities. Las Vegas is no exception. Once known as a place where you could buy a nice home for much less than in California or New York, prices here have surged in recent years. The median home price in the Las Vegas Valley now sits around $450,000, a huge jump compared to just a few years ago. Rentals have followed the same path, with average monthly rent for a modest 2-bedroom apartment now pushing above $1,700. For retirees on a fixed income that can quickly eat up a large portion of the monthly budget. And here's another layer. Planned communities in suburbs like Summerlin and Henderson often come with HOA fees. These fees cover things like clean streets, security, golf courses, and community pools, but they can add anywhere from $50 to $300 a month, sometimes more. Add property taxes into the mix, and suddenly your so-called affordable Vegas home may not feel so affordable anymore. At the same time, compared to California, Las Vegas is still relatively cheaper. Many people from Los Angeles, San Diego, and even San Francisco are cashing out of expensive homes in those markets and moving to Nevada. They sell one California property, buy in Las Vegas, and suddenly feel like they're living large. So, housing can be both a pro and a con, depending on where you're coming from and what lifestyle you expect. Jobs and economy. Now, let's come to our next part. Jobs and economy. Las Vegas has always been known as a city built on tourism, casinos, and entertainment. The bright lights of the Strip bring in millions of visitors every single year, And with them comes an entire economy that thrives on hotels, restaurants, concerts, and gaming. For decades, this has been the backbone of the city. But here's the challenge. When an economy depends too heavily on one industry, it becomes fragile. The pandemic showed just how vulnerable Las Vegas really is. The Strip went quiet, thousands of workers lost their jobs overnight, and the entire city faced an economic standstill. That memory still lingers for many locals. Today, the job market has recovered, but it's still largely service-based. Many positions are in hospitality, customer service, or casino-related industries. These jobs can pay well if you land the right role, especially in management or specialized hospitality. But for most workers, wages have not kept up with rising housing and living costs. For retirees, this may not seem like a big deal since they're not actively looking for full-time employment. But it does matter indirectly. A city that relies so heavily on tourism is a city that feels unstable during times of economic downturn. When visitors stop coming, revenues drop, and that can affect everything from local services to community investment. On the positive side, Las Vegas has been trying to diversify. Tech companies and healthcare providers are slowly entering the market, and remote workers are increasingly calling the city home thanks to Nevada's tax advantages. But make no mistake, the heart of this economy is still tied to the casinos and entertainment industry. So the big question is, if you're moving here, would you feel comfortable living in a city whose financial health depends so much on tourism? Climate and extreme heat. Moving on, let's talk about something that shapes daily life in LAS Vegas more than anything else. The climate. There's no getting around it. Las Vegas is hot. Not just summer hot, but dangerously hot for several months of the year. In the peak of July and August, temperatures regularly soar past 110 degrees. Stepping outside feels like opening the door of an oven. For retirees and older adults, this kind of extreme heat can be a real health risk. Dehydration, heat stroke, and exhaustion are all concerns that locals have to take seriously. Doctors often advise people to avoid outdoor activities during midday hours, meaning that unless you love late evenings or early mornings, your outdoor lifestyle can feel limited. And then there's the financial side. Running air conditioning almost non-stop for months can double your utility bills compared to cooler states. Some families see electricity costs hitting hundreds of dollars each month in the summer just to keep their homes livable. It's not all negative, though. The winters in LAS Vegas are mild and pleasant, often in the 60s and 70s, which is a big draw for retirees escaping freezing conditions in the Midwest or Northeast. Imagine golfing in January or sitting outside without needing a heavy jacket. That's something people absolutely love here. Still, the trade-off is real. To enjoy the mild winters, you must be ready for brutal summers. The question becomes, are you willing to adjust your lifestyle and budget for utilities to handle the desert heat? Healthcare. This part is especially important for retirees and older adults. Healthcare. On the surface, Las Vegas seems like a city with plenty of hospitals and clinics. The metro area has several major hospitals, including the University Medical Center, Summerlin Hospital, and specialized facilities in Henderson. For basic needs and emergencies, you'll usually find care nearby. But here's the challenge. Nevada, and particularly Las Vegas, has long struggled with a shortage of doctors. According to recent studies, the state ranks among the lowest in the country for the number of physicians per capita. Specialists in fields like cardiology, oncology, and geriatrics are in especially short supply. That means longer wait times for appointments and, in some cases, the need to travel out of state for certain types of care. For retirees, this can be frustrating. Imagine moving to a place expecting to enjoy your golden years, only to find that getting in to see a specialist takes weeks or even months. And with a rapidly growing population, many of whom are retirees, the strain on the healthcare system is only expected to increase. On the other hand, the city is investing in healthcare infrastructure. New clinics and facilities have been opening, and private practices are expanding to meet the demand. There are also more concierge medical services available, though those often come with a higher price tag. Health insurance costs in Nevada are relatively average compared to other states, but what you pay will depend heavily on your personal situation and whether you qualify for Medicare or supplemental plans. So while LAS Vegas does provide healthcare options, the real question is whether those options are enough to keep up with the growing demand. For someone who is healthy and only needs occasional visits, the system may feel sufficient. But for retirees with chronic conditions or specialized needs, it can feel limited. Safety and crime. Las Vegas has a reputation that's a bit complicated. On one hand, the Las Vegas Strip is heavily policed, full of cameras, and designed to make visitors feel secure. Tourists often leave with the impression that Vegas is a safe city. But for residents, the story can feel very different. Las Vegas consistently ranks higher than the national average for property crime. Break-ins, car thefts, and petty theft are common, especially in certain neighborhoods. Violent crime is more concentrated in specific areas, and while most suburban communities like Summerlin or Henderson remain relatively safe, the city as a whole struggles with crime tied to poverty, addiction, and transient populations. For retirees or families thinking about moving here, this means location matters a lot. Choosing the right neighborhood can make the difference between feeling secure or feeling constantly on edge. Gated communities, retirement villages, and master-planned suburbs often provide extra layers of safety, but they also come with higher housing costs and HOA fees. Police presence is strong in tourist-heavy zones, but locals sometimes feel response times in residential areas could be better. Community policing programs are expanding, but it's still something to carefully research before settling down. So, while Las Vegas can be safe, it depends heavily on where you choose to live. Traffic and infrastructure. Las Vegas might not be as congested as Los Angeles, but don't be fooled. Traffic here can get frustrating. The Strip is notorious for slow-moving cars, endless stoplights, and packed weekends when tourists flood the city. Highway systems like I-15 and the 215 Beltway connect different parts of the valley, but during peak hours, bottlenecks are common. If you live in the suburbs and commute into the city center, be prepared for long drives, especially during rush hours or special events. Public transportation is limited. There's a bus system that covers much of the valley, but it's not always reliable or convenient for daily commuters. The monorail exists but is mainly designed for tourists. If you're moving to Las Vegas, owning a car isn't optional. It's a necessity. Infrastructure is a mixed bag. New developments in areas like Summerlin and Henderson often come with well-maintained roads and amenities, but older parts of the city sometimes show wear and tear. And with the population growing so quickly, the city is playing catch-up to expand roads, utilities, and services. For retirees, this means choosing a community where most essentials, grocery stores, healthcare, and recreation are nearby. That way, you're not stuck in traffic every time you need to run an errand. Social issues and homelessness. Now let's come to a more sensitive but important part. Social issues. Las Vegas is a city of contrasts. On one side, you see luxury casinos, million-dollar homes, and glamorous shows. On the other side, you'll notice rising homelessness, visible poverty, and people struggling to get by. Homelessness is especially visible in the downtown area. Shelters exist, but resources are stretched thin. Many residents feel this issue has been growing more noticeable in recent years. This matters for more than just appearances. Rising homelessness ties into crime, public safety, and overall quality of life. Locals often say they feel compassion, but also frustration, especially when it comes to how city leaders are handling the situation. Add in the challenges of income inequality and the high cost of housing, and you start to see how LAS Vegas, despite its booming image, has underlying struggles. For retirees and new residents, this doesn't always directly impact daily life if you're in a well-planned community, but it is something you'll notice and need to be aware of. Community and lifestyle. When most people think of Las Vegas, they imagine endless casinos, neon lights, and late-night parties. But for residents, daily life looks very different. Beyond the Strip, There are real neighborhoods, schools, churches, parks, and community centers. In places like Summerlin, Henderson, and North Las Vegas, you'll find family-friendly neighborhoods, golf courses, and quiet retirement communities. For retirees, lifestyle can actually be one of the biggest benefits here. The city has dozens of 55-plus communities, offering everything from affordable condos to luxury homes. Many of these communities come with their own pools, gyms, walking trails, and social clubs, making it easy to stay active and connected. The entertainment factor is also a huge plus. Want to see a world-class concert, dine at celebrity chef restaurants, or watch a professional sports team like the Vegas Golden Knights or the Raiders? It's all here. You don't have to wait for a vacation. It's right in your backyard. But here's the thing. Las Vegas is not just about glitz and glamour. Many residents say they enjoy the small-town feel of their own neighborhoods while knowing that world-class entertainment is just 20 minutes away. It's a balance that appeals to both retirees and younger families. The challenge is that community life can sometimes feel disconnected. Because the city is spread out and the population is constantly changing with new arrivals, building long-term roots can take effort. If you value deep community connections, you'll need to actively seek them out through clubs, churches, or neighborhood associations. So lifestyle here can be incredible, but it depends on how you shape it. So now, the big question, is Las Vegas a good place to live? The answer is, it depends on what you're looking for. If you want warm winters, access to world-class entertainment, and a relatively affordable lifestyle compared to California, Las Vegas delivers. The housing market, while rising, is still cheaper than coastal states, and Nevada's lack of state income tax is a major financial perk. But if you struggle with extreme heat, worry about healthcare access, or prefer a city with a more stable economy beyond tourism, Las Vegas may not be the perfect fit. For retirees, the decision often comes down to priorities. Do you value sunshine, golf courses, and entertainment? Then Las Vegas could be your dream retirement spot. But if healthcare access, community stability, and avoiding summer heat are top priorities, you may want to think twice. At the end of the day, LA's Vegas is a city of trade-offs. Some people love it and never leave, while others quickly realize it's not what they expected. So, what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear real stories from real people. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our future videos on the best cities, cost of living, and lifestyle guides across America. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.